These are images from the first ever nuclear weapon test. The giant mushroom cloud you saw was caused by this device. It was the first nuclear bomb developed under the Manhattan Project. Its success would ultimately lead to the creation of the Little Boy and the Fat Man, both of which would be used to bomb the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The use of these two bombs had marked the end of the Second World War, but it also set in motion a new type of conflict. We call it the Cold War. It was a period of technological and geopolitical rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union. During this period, both nations entered a race to develop their own nuclear arsenals, and from 1945 to 1986, the global nuclear stockpile had grown to over 70,000 warheads. But after the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991,
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Tensions between Russia and the US declined. They began dismantling their warheads, and by 2024, the number of global nuclear weapons had fallen to just 12,121. This means that within a span of just 4 decades, the world's nuclear stockpile had dropped by 80%, and this has been largely thanks to the growing denuclearization movement. The truth is, a large fraction of society believes that nuclear weapons should be banned entirely, calling them dangerous and destructive. But at the same time, many also argue that nuclear weapons are essential, that global peace depends on their very existence. And so to understand both sides of the argument, we will go over the good, the bad, and the ugly of nuclear weapons. The good. Those who advocate for the existence of nuclear weapons often bring up the word deterrence. This remains the central argument for those in favor of these weapons. Since the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the devastating effects those bombs left on those cities, nuclear weapons have been regarded as crucial in preventing large-scale wars. This threat of mutually assured destruction has ultimately discouraged major world powers from going to war with one another. This dynamic has also created greater international cooperation and, in some ways, brought the world closer to peace than ever before. Organizations such as the United Nations and various nuclear arms treaties, including the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, have been formed largely as a response to the dangers posed by nuclear arms. In this way, nuclear weapons have indirectly encouraged dialogue and diplomacy, which might not have been as strong without their existence. But despite this argument, many insist that deterrence is not a good enough reason to keep them around. The bad. In the 1950s, when we were still learning how to effectively develop them, there were only 2 countries that had these weapons. Over the years, this number has grown to 9. Now that doesn't seem like a lot, but it's worth noting that as tensions between countries rise, more and more of them get drawn into making their own. This is a problem for several reasons. As more countries develop nuclear weapons, the risk of a nuclear disaster increases. Even without deliberate use, history is filled with near misses caused by false alarms, technical failures, and human misjudgments. And if an unstable country were to acquire these weapons, it would pose a serious threat to the global order. Not only that, but the sheer expense of maintaining nuclear stockpiles consumes billions of dollars. In the case of North Korea, resources that could have been used for social welfare and development have instead been diverted to maintaining nuclear warheads. In this sense, nuclear weapons impose a heavy burden even when they remain idle. If countries prioritize making these weapons, especially those that are still developing, then the quality of life for ordinary citizens of those countries may decline. Fortunately, nuclear arms treaties have so far been effective in discouraging countries from building their own arsenals.
Here is why 108 nations signed a treaty. It's called the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty.
However, as mentioned earlier, rising global tensions and advances in nuclear technology are making it increasingly tempting to develop these weapons. This, of course, raises the risk of them falling into the wrong hands. And if they do, it could trigger the largest global catastrophe of our time. The ugly. The real danger of nuclear weapons lies in what happens when they are unleashed. It is important to remember that it is not only countries seeking to acquire these weapons. Many terrorist organizations have also had their eyes on them. And if they were to get their hands on even a small bomb, it could result in hundreds of thousands losing their lives. The destruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki serves as a stark reminder of the devastation caused when such a weapon is detonated in a densely populated area. Cities were leveled in seconds, tens of thousands killed instantly, and survivors were left to endure burns, radiation sickness, and lifelong health complications. Modern nuclear arsenals, far more powerful than those used in 1945, have the potential not only to destroy cities, but also to destabilize the global climate through the phenomenon known as the nuclear winter. The fires caused by a nuclear blast would send massive amounts of dark smoke into the upper troposphere, reaching as far as 10 to 15 kilometers above the Earth's surface. This would block any sunlight from reaching us, making a sort of artificial winter where the Earth's temperature significantly drops. Sunlight absorption would then further heat the smoke, lifting it into the stratosphere, where it would continue to block out the sun for years. This nuclear winter could ultimately trigger a worldwide famine, where billions would die due to lack of nutrition.
Well, they do have a high water content.
Can you see any fallout falling out, James?
No, the sun is trying to get through.
They didn't blow up the sun, thank goodness.
Oh, no.
Conclusion. Now, it could be argued that the existence of nuclear weapons has helped keep the world together by promoting international cooperation and preventing major conflicts from erupting. On the other hand, though, there is the terrifying risk of these weapons falling into the wrong hands, potentially causing a nuclear disaster that could kill anywhere from thousands to billions of people. Although we have made significant progress in reducing the number of active nuclear weapons, the dark truth is that to get rid of them completely, we would first likely need to find a viable replacement for the good that they offer. These weapons have become a necessary red line between the world's superpowers and have served as the most effective deterrent to war in human history. Yet, what makes them so effective is also what could ultimately destroy our world. We now find ourselves at a point where the very thing that could end humanity is also what's stopping us from destroying ourselves. At the moment, there doesn't seem to be a viable alternative, at least not one that preserves the stability nuclear weapons provide without the catastrophic risks they carry, leaving our future with them uncertain.